Okay, we'll take a little trip down memory lane today and talk about some of the old lures that nobody uses anymore hardly versus some of the new ones that are pretty much the same things, just a little pricier. So what have we got first? All right, let's talk about some crankbaits. You got all your deep diving crankbaits. You got your KVD 6XDs. You got this big monstrous 10XD. But, you know, back 30, 40 years ago, we had these. We had Rebels. You never hear everybody talk about Rebels anymore, hardly. This is a Rebel Deep Max CR. It'd get on down 10, 12 feet. And then you had a slightly different version of it called this is a Deep Max CR. It's got a little bitty weight in the lip to get it a little bit deeper. And then you've got another step down, which is Rebel Deep Mini R. Great lure. I don't know anybody that uses them hardly. Maybe 2-3 guys, maybe at the most. And then square bills. Everybody loves square bills now. Well, Rebel made a square bill 40 years ago. Mini R, just a plain Mini R. And they also had a WeR version of it. I thought I brought it out here, but I don't guess I did. But it's just a little bit smaller. And then Mans had a bunch of deep diving lures. They had a 30 plus, they had a 20 plus, and they have even a little 10 plus, little tiny 10-foot diver. The 15 plus is pretty awesome, and I could have swore I brought one out here with me, but evidently not, which is too bad. It's a pretty good lure, and I've slayed some fish on it. I caught a 8-pound 9-ounce bass on it at Allatoona one time. Oh, here's the 15 plus right here, still in the package. And it's almost like the one that I caught, the big one on at Allatoona, only instead of having black tiger stripes, it had kind of a fluorescent green tiger stripes. And then you have shallow divers with kind of round bills. You got an old Mans 1 minus, a big 1 minus. And then you also have a baby 1 minus. These plugs are 30 years old if they're a day. Bagley's all kinds of deep diving crankbaits. Big DB3 Magnum. And then you had just a plain DB3. And also in the Bagleys, flat side crankbaits are a big thing today. Well, flat side crankbaits been around for a long time. That's a little flat side coffin bill Bagleys. And this is the Pose RC1. RC stands for Rick Clunn. I think this is a lure he won the Classic on Alabama River. I could be wrong, but the RC stands for Rick Clunn. You've also got Bagley's flat sides, little B flat, been around a long time. I found this very lure hanging from a cable line over at Lake Wise probably 35 years ago. I got it down. It was still in pretty decent shape. I tied it on and just caught the snot out of fish on that lure that day. They got some newer ones, very different colors, but they're flat side, been around for many moons. I even ran across a Torpedo. I didn't even know I had that, or if I had it I forgot. It's another old Bagley's crankbait's been around a long time. Killer B2. Got a real wide wobble. I operated on this one. They didn't have rattles in them, so I put rattles in them. I drilled the hole all the way through, stuck a glass rattle in there and siliconed it shut, sealed it with clear fingernail polish. Rapala had some deep diving lures many moons ago. I think they call this one a Deep 20 Plus or something like that. Let's see, what's it say on the bill? Rapala, Finland. No, but that's what it is. Oh, and here's another man's plug. This is a Stretch 10 Plus, 10-foot diver. I need to put that in my box and start using that thing. What else we got? Flat side crankbaits, like rattle traps. There's your old Bayou Boogie. That thing's been around for 40 years. It's been around a day. Got a big rattle in it. It'll catch fish. What else we got? Let's see, we got the Baby 1 Minus. Covered all of them. Let's see. What else we got? Ah, I found my box that had my Deep 15 Plus in it. My man's Deep 15 Plus. That is an awesome little crankbait right there, and it will get down. And of course, these are my old faithfuls, my old 6 and 7/8 bombers. This color's been discontinued for a long time, but I caught a 913. No. Yeah, I did. I caught a 913 on it. I caught a 9.8 and a 7.12 on this on Wise the same day. But like I said, I caught a 913 on it too. That's my biggest bass I ever caught on a crankbait, I think. What else we got? This right here is my box that I keep, my single box, in case I have to go with somebody in their boat and can't drag all my stuff. Now there are some newer crankbaits that I like. I like this Spro's Little John. Ouch, ouch, ouch. You can chunk it a mile, man, it casts like a bullet. I caught a 8.3, 8.2, 8 something on this one day. What else we got? This is going to be my muskie lure. This is called it's either a cowgirl or a showgirl, but it's a big inline spinner. It's kind of a muskie bait, really. Got a big treble hook on it. It's got 2 blades that rotate. I've caught big bass on this thing too, so you can't discount it for big fish too. And while I'm on the subject talking about, I talked about this on another podcast or another video I made the other day about cheap swim baits versus outrageously high swim baits. This is the bullnose shad that I talked about. This is what it looked like when I got it. This is what it looked like after I put my half-ass paint job on it. And like I say, it still caught 2 monstrous. It's caught more than 2 big bass, but it caught a 9-10 one day. You know, you catch a 9-10 on a lure, you kind of got to look at it. But I looked again. I think you can get 5 for $21.50 plus whatever the shipping is, but you got to get them from China. This is an awesome little jerkbait that I ran across several years ago. It's called I think it's a Berkley, I think it's a Frenzy they call it. But relatively cheap, and I caught an 8.3 on this one, so good crankbait, or jerkbait rather. What else have we got in here? This is one I put something on the group page about this because I didn't know what it was. I couldn't remember. I think somebody said it was a Jizz 4, something like that, but it's supposed to be a blueback herring. Pretty good looking plug, but it was kind of pricey. It was like $10, but it looked so good I had to buy it. But again, let's see what else. Oh yeah, this thing here, this crazy looking thing. I call it Darth Vader's stepchild. It's a Rebel Black Star. Never caught a fish on it, but I intend to catch one on it this year if I don't do anything else. And this is that man's Bill Dance, Dancing Eagle. I'm going to try to catch one on it this year too. Okay, here's something else I almost forgot. Walking baits, topwater, Zara Spook. Been around for, God, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, I don't know. The only design problem that I have with them is these hook hangers they have. The hook can kind of get wedged and not swing real freely. So what I've done to some of mine is I've taken them out and I replaced the trebles and put a split ring in there to let the thing hang free. But I mean, the walking baits today, they're not really any different from this, except I will say the one exception, a Sammy, or Bass Pro Shops has got a $3 version of it. My late fishing partner, for some reason, he could not walk a spook, but he could walk a Sammy, or he could walk that cheap knockoff. But other than that, they'll catch just as many fish. And this is another little walking bait. So spitting image, bill dance. I actually caught a 25-pound striper on this thing up at Carter's one day. I caught 2 others. I had a 10 and a 7. For an hour and a half, I got into a school of big feeding stripers, and for an hour and a half, all I do was fight fish. I hooked 6, I landed 3, a 25, a 10, and a 7, and the others pulled off. But I switched up when they were hitting this one real good, and I said, well, let's just see if they'll hit a spook, and they hit the spook just as good. I like to experiment and kind of just check the effectiveness of the baits in situations sometimes, just to see if one's any better than the other. And most times, pretty much the same. The new lures cost 5 times as much, but they're not any more effective. And I think the last thing is this right here in the original packaging, probably 40 years old. This big Roland Martin Okeechobee Special, they called it. 1/2 ounce, number 7 blade. This is where the big blade started. It's 40 years old, probably. Right at it, if not more. But this is where the spinnerbait thing started for me, the big spinnerbaits. Then I just started adding weight to them and changing up the blades a little bit, going to painted blades as opposed to this. But just because they're newer, they don't mean they're any better. And I don't know, probably half the kids today fishing have never heard of 90% of this stuff I just talked about. And it's kind of a shame because it's still effective. But now they're turning into collector's items, and now they're costing as much as the new stuff just because they're old and collector's items. It is what it is. God knows how many of these things I've got put up. I'll start selling them off here before. I've already sold several. I'm not going to be able to use them all. I'm not going to be able to fish that long. But anyway, this thing right here, you want a good effective swim bait, cheap, bullnose shad, get on the internet, look them up. You can get you 5 of them for next to them. I've got less than $10 in this, and it's awesome. I mean, it's a good alternative to my big King Kong. It's a good 1-2 punch. So anyway, oh, I talked about a Megabait Charlie, first swim bait I ever owned. This is the Megabait Charlie, only this is the little one. The other one I had was like 8 inches long, but it's got a rubber body and it's pressed onto a wooden frame. I mean, a metal frame in there, and it'll catch an 8 fish. And then they were pretty cheap, but now I've looked again, and the damn price on these has gone up. So it's what it is. But given $40 to $500 for a swim bait is just ridiculous. Not saying that it won't catch fish. It won't catch fish any better than that. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, had a little time to kill, so I thought I'd do this.